Throughout last year, the post office was very effectively destroyed by some of the goons that Donald Trump put in charge of that. Unfortunately, the chief goon, Louis DeJoy, is still there and is still planning yet more damage to the post office. So the new plan is to raise postal rates and eliminate first-class mail deliveries, moves that are likely to lead to slower mail and higher costs passed on to customers, according to reports. The potential cutbacks to first-class mail, which includes letters, bills, and other mail sent to local addresses, would eliminate 2-day deliveries and instead lump that mail into current 3- and 5-day tiers, the same as non-local mail. So, wow, I had not really thought. I thought that he would sort of try to lay low a little bit and maintain control of the post office to protect the damage they've already done for as long as possible. But Ben, he's not doing that. He's planning yet more, like eliminating entire classifications of mail. That is a bold move for someone who, in theory at least, although not directly, could be removed in the future by Biden.
You know, it's actually dawning on me, this might be the real play here, right? Because if you think about if you think of a cohesive strategy from the Republican Party, it is one thing: destroy the efficacy of the government, right? I mean, we could reduce everything down to that, and what is left but the post office. So I couldn't understand it through any other lens other than I think that's the play. Because if you get rid of the post office, then you really don't have a justification in their mind for a collectivism government.
Yeah, and definitely like they spent most of last year terrified about what increased mail voting could be like. They demonized it, they put in DeJoy and all of that. Well, I mean, it definitely seemed to lead to more voting. So if they were afraid of it, their fears have been confirmed. And we know that there's legislation pending in a bunch of different states to roll back voting rights. Mail voting is a big part of that. But in the meantime, if they can either increase or just protect the gains they've already made in disrupting the ability of widespread mail-in voting to happen, I think they're gonna find that very appealing. And I wanna give people a few numbers from this. So he didn't release 2021 on-time delivery data, but December numbers made public in lawsuits show that only about 40% of first-class mail was arriving on time, down from about 92% the year before, which is just madness. Like, how can you still have your position when, like, best case scenario, you didn't do it on purpose, you're just terrible. You're the worst at your job imaginable. We know that that's not likely to be the actual truth, that this is a result of the changes that he made. So we don't know exactly what's happened in January, but have we had any reason to believe that those numbers have become much better, or that the changes that he's planning to roll out, where they're not even gonna aim for 2-day shipping anymore, that's suddenly gonna result in mail being delivered faster? It really does seem like he's being quite successful from the Republican point of view.
Trojan horse. I think that Mick Jagger comment was about the Trojan horse of that manager, right? We could tie that into this. This is the Trojan horse of the Republican Party, right? What they're doing is, this is a hostile takeover. We have a board that is here, like the Republican Party. They don't know anything else. They know how to destroy companies, and now they're coming in to destroy this country. And Louis DeJoy is actually executing this on a masterful level, because he understands if it's the slow boiling of the frog, man. Like, if we stay in this kind of situation over the next 4 years, their next move is not going to be so ridiculous in our eyes, because we would have gotten used to it gradually.
So yeah, and so then why hasn't anything been done? Because Biden can't just remove DeJoy,
right?
But he could appoint a Democratic majority board that could then fire the Postmaster General, but he hasn't done that. Why hasn't he done? I mean, even if you ignore the political implications of the changes to the mail, people still need the mail. Like, so why haven't they done anything? I get that there are some other things they're doing, but he hasn't been remotely involved in impeachment and doesn't want to be. I mean, the COVID negotiations are ongoing. Is Biden spending 8 hours a day doing that? Like, these sorts of gaps where it would be so easy for them to act and he's not doing it. You really have to wonder, why in this case? I can't imagine that he approves of the changes, and yet the result of his inaction is that they're more likely to actually go through.
I think it's because they trust in the process more than they're willing to look at the problem right? The problem is a problem that's rooted in greed, individualism, and white supremacy, right? And it requires significant changes because the Republican Party has mastered the art of breaking the system as needed to maintain power. And I think Joe Biden and the Democratic Party really believe in the system when the solution is changing the system, because the Republicans have shown they have no problem with breaking it.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. And I mean, the result of all of that electoral activity in the last year was to reverse as much of this as possible. Right. You don't just sit by the wayside and let them continue to do this damage for as long as possible.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.